It's not what you perceive when you're in law school. You do a whole bunch of internships. I guess that's when you get the asli taste of what it is that you're going to be heading to. Everyone says, as you said, it's a rosy picture, but trust me, when you actually get into the midst of, whatever you're doing, whether it's, the corporate field or you're a litigating lawyer going to court and practicing. If you're someone who does not come from a law background, who is not like second or third generation lawyers in your family and has zero knowledge of, how to go about things, I think the best way to start is this generation is more on social media, news travels like that. But I think the traditional way of us reading the newspaper, reading storybooks, reading any book as far as possible, I think that really helps a lot because that's how.
Having a corporate job is everybody's dream. And today we have with us a very successful corporate counsel who's working with a leading corporate in India. Miss Sana Ali, welcome to the podcast and welcome to the studio. Thank you so much for taking time out and talking to our students who will be watching this. First, to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me over. It's been a pleasure actually sitting here and having this conversation with you. I am a corporate lawyer with about 15 years of professional qualified experience. I am India Bar Council certified and I've been working for about 15 years. I started my career back with a law firm, a leading law firm actually, and have been there for about 11 and a half to 12 years. Post which I decided to make a move into a corporate, which is more of an in-house counsel role. But during the course of my entire career, I primarily have dealt with general corporate advisory, legal advisory, regulatory compliances, mergers and acquisitions, and capital markets. I think that's practically what I've been doing all of these 15 years of my life in the legal profession. And yes, and then started honing my skills, I think, during the course of my law firm career, and then moved that into an in-house job in a corporate now.
If we can go back a little, why did you choose this career?
It's a rather amusing story that I have. So back when I was in school, and I'm sure like many other students right now, people are a little clueless in terms of what they want to do. I was one of them. I think in my 12th grade was when I sort of, you're at the crossroads of your life and you have to decide what you want to do. The uncles and aunties are all asking you questions. Beta, what next? What career? Which course? And which college do you want to go to? And I was really confused. But then back then, I think, you sort of start figuring out what you want to do and where you want to head in life. I was a little conflicted between economics and law. And back then, I think about 20 years ago, law was, I think, picking up the pace in terms of doing well. People would hear a lot of success stories, seemed a little lucrative and a little attractive in terms of, actually taking that up as a profession. So then I think after my 12th exams is when I realized I did a little bit of research, spoke to other classmates and colleagues and so on and so forth. And then, yes, got into the career of the course of doing law. In addition to that, yes, all my life, I think I've practically wanted to be, I think, the influence of my dad a bit because he is a retired police officer. So I think that sort of played at the back of my mind that, I'd want to go something into law enforcement and things like that. But yeah, somewhere down the line, I said, okay, maybe if not now, the options are a lot more when you're in the 12th to sort of explore. So then I said, okay, maybe I can also do the UPSC exams a lot later after I finish my graduation. And yeah, that's how I sort of said, okay, we have options. Let's not, it's not like, the end all over here if I just pick up a law program and start off with it.
Students have this rosy picture in their heads of when they are planning to take up law, how their life is going to be. And you've been in the industry for 15 years now. What is the stark contrast between what you may have imagined and what the realities are, what a student should be aware
Harsh
of?
realities are. It's not what you perceive when you're in law school. You do a whole bunch of internships. I guess that's when you get the asli taste of what it is that you're going to be heading to. And everyone says, as you said, it's a rosy picture, but trust me, when you actually get into the midst of, whatever you're doing, whether it's, the corporate field or you're a litigating lawyer going to court and practicing, it is a lot of hard work. It is a lot of late hours. It is a lot of, research, a lot of background work, which you need to do. And I think it's only when, you put in those few years of, rigorous effort that you actually go towards, achieving what you want, is only then would you reap the benefits of it a lot later. But yes, I mean, I didn't have it easy. I don't think a lot of us had it easy. We did have to pull all-nighters, actually stay on, I mean, for weeks on end in office without a shower sometimes. But yeah, pull all-nighters, figure out things for ourselves. We were not, handheld and told, this is where you need to find something. You just have to fend for yourself. And many a times what you learn in law school, or actually, I think this applies cut across any course. What you learn in college is not what ultimately it doesn't translate to what you're doing practically. So I feel one thing which I think people should sort of, students should sort of get prepared for is through internships. That's when you know the practical aspect of it. And I think you'll be a little more, I think, fish to water when it comes to finally actually taking on the career a lot later.
What kind of salaries do you think freshers can expect when they are entering the field of corporate law?
It depends on the size of the company that you're joining. If it is, say, a small to a mid-sized company, I think it would be something in the range of annually you would get something about, in the range of 10 to 15 lakhs. And then, of course, as and when the size of the company increases and, the kind of sector you belong to, of course, it's very sector specific. Some will pay a lot more. Your IT companies will pay a lot more. SaaS companies or startups will pay, not great paymasters, but I'm not going to badmouth them that way. It depends in terms of, what you bring to the table as well. So, and manufacturing, of course. So you have the manufacturing sector that, will pay you a decent amount, again, in the range of, say, 15 to 20 lakhs as a fresher. So that's on the corporate, if you go to a company per se. But if you look at a law firm scene, I think that's a lot more lucrative. Again, that's broken up into different tiers. So you have tier 1 law firms, tier 2 and tier 3. So tier 1s are your top, the top 3 law firms that we have in our country. And they have pan-Asia presence, all of that. And they're a full service law firm. So you sort of have all the various aspects of law, the practice areas of law. And you tend to actually, go to the one which you actually do want to practice after you've done your 5-year or a 3-year law course program and your internships. And you sort of figured out, this is what I want to do, this area of law. So a top tier law firm actually would start off easily with about, I think, 20.
Wow.
So yeah, that's quite, lucrative.
And when you are applying for a college, what kind of colleges you should look at so that you are picked up immediately, after your study?
So back in the day, it wasn't. So right now we have something known as a common law entrance exam.
Yeah.
So everyone writes that exam, you clear it based on your ranking, you're sort of placed in different law schools. Apart from that, back when I did it, there was no common law entrance exam. It was you had to individually apply to every law college. You have the national law schools, which are the creme de la creme of law colleges in India. So you have them placed across all over, in Bangalore, West Bengal, and Gandhinagar, all of these places, and Jodhpur. So basically what you could do is pick on those and then work backwards in terms of figuring out what are the others. But yes, you do have private law colleges which are doing equally well, who get decent amount of funding, so you have the facilities, so on and so forth. But talking about law colleges, you can be in, the best law school, or you could not be in a great one. I think it's all more about, what you bring to the table. And I think how you make best use of what has been provided to you.
At this point in your career, you will be at a place where you are now mentoring the younger generation of lawyers. What is it that you would like young people to know that corporates look for when they are hiring lawyers?
I think a lot of us actually look at how enthusiastic someone is. We see a lot of kids come in who are like, oh, so what are the work timings? And if we say, okay, it's a 9 to 5 job, but then, you might have to pull an all-nighter once in a while. And we point blank get, a no saying, oh, that's not something that we could do. But I'm sorry, but that's how it is. Life is like that, and you need to put in those hours. It's not that we're asking you to do that all the time. So I think a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of open-mindedness when it comes to, handling a task. And I think a bit of practical knowledge, I think. What we've realized, over the years is that I think even when I joined as a fresher, I would say this, I was clueless, blank. And then when I joined a law firm and my senior would come with an assignment and dump it on me, it would be like, okay, fine, we all start at zero. So we all figure that out. And then practice makes you perfect. So you keep doing that over and over again on different transactions. But I think if you had that experience as an intern when you were in your law program, so I think you save up on time and you read up a lot more. You get into the groove of things in terms of what you finally do want to head towards to. Then I think, you come out as a shining candidate a bit, you have that sheen over the rest and the upper hand. So I can't expect a fresher out of law college to know, practically everything about the law. But yeah, there's certain things here and there, the sense of, doing research or, the basic work ethics that you would have to say, okay, I am a budding lawyer. I am going to show that enthusiasm and get through the day. I think that's what we lack nowadays. And I think maybe it's a generational thing also. I know.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. So like in IT, you have these Udemy courses which you can take up, and this course and that course. Is that something that happens in law as well?
Yes, you do have a lot of them. In fact, even after you join a company or a law firm, you can still do them on the side. During your law program itself, your 5-year or your 3-year course, you can actually do a lot of diplomas there, like diplomas on international law, on intellectual property rights, or something very niche under those topics or any of these topics. It's always great to have value addition and, keep adding on to what you're already doing.
How should a student go about applying for a job, like to corporates?
To corporates, so if you are in one of those fancy law colleges or, the good ones that, have a structure
You
in
get
place.
picked.
You get picked. You have, your entire, interview process based on your ranking also that works out, and then you have all of that. So that's the easier way out. But if you're someone who does not come from a law background, who is not like second or third generation lawyers in your family and has zero knowledge of, how to go about things, I think the best way to start is go back to your internship, the places where you've interned with. Start with them and then, build it. Because a lot of times when you do an internship, people might like you. You might actually do well at that particular place. And they keep that in mind. Law firms also have systems in place where they have a database and they keep track of freshers. So they will hand over a PPO to you, even before you're done with your law course. So there is that side as well. But otherwise, I mean, if you're looking at a law firm, the top 10 law firms in the country. So you go systematically and then they all have websites, they all have career pages. You can go and apply there. Or you have contacts who you've built over the years, even while internships. Say a senior you worked with and, reach out to that senior and say, hey, I worked with you. Do you remember? I'm done with my law course. This is how I would, I'm interested in doing this and so on and so forth. So I think, yeah, you have multiple ways of getting into a law firm and it's not that difficult at all.
You are certified by the Law Council Board of India.
Yeah, Bar Council.
The Bar Council, yes. Does that allow you to have scope to work abroad? Because that's one of the fascinations now of going to IT and all. Ki, I can go abroad. I want to work abroad. Does even law provide such opportunities?
So the thing is, law is a profession. So you are a professional, and therefore when you go to another country to practice, you need to be qualified in that country. So even though I am certified in India, I do hold a All India Bar Council certificate and a bar card. If I go and say work in the UK, I will at some point be required to do a conversion exam, take those exams where I am qualified. So there will be a test where each country has their own system, but technically it's like an MCQ test which happens. I think it's about 5.5 hours of all the laws possible. So you prepare for that. And then you write those exams. And then in the UK, I know you have something known as a solicitor's and a barrister's exam. So depending whether you want to practice in court or if you want to work in a corporate, you pick one of those and then, move on in terms of writing the exams. But many a times we don't even do that. I mean, we as a corporate, because you're spread so far across the globe and time is of the essence and you need to get everything done urgently, there are a lot of us who get our hands dirty and, just start picking up work, which is maybe in Singapore or in Vietnam or wherever it is, and figuring it out. The one plus for us as Indian lawyers is that it's common law. So it's the principles are pretty similar in common law jurisdictions. So that's an added advantage to us. But if you are looking to go to a country abroad and work, at some point you would have to qualify to get into their system. But if you're, with an MNC or a corporate and you just, juggling up and down or trying to just work on certain assignments with them, then you're good without even doing a conversion exam.
If you were to go back in time, what would you do differently in, approaching the path you took in your career?
I think I wish I had more of these podcasts back then. So that I had people actually telling me, hey, this is the universe, this is what you have, and this is what is laid out for you. And maybe you should, this is what happens when you pick A, B, or C. I wish that happened, but yeah, that wasn't in my control. I think maybe a little more in touch in terms of taking it a little more seriously. I know we're kids, so we're a little happy and all right with where we are going, and we say ho jayega, we'll get into some college, we'll do some course. I think a little more focus, and I feel somewhere down the line I could have also maybe honed other skills along with just doing law. A lot of us, we think we're bogged down with, it's law and, we have to sit and study all our lives and we're nerds and so on and so forth. Trust me, half of us are not nerds. But it would also be nice to sort of hone something else to complement it, because at the end of the day, looking back, I think law is very versatile. There's so many avenues for you which open up. It's not just going to court or going to a company. You can join the judicial services, you can join the army, you can be in JAG, you can do, there's so many things. You can actually take on economics, like how I wanted to do economics. There are people who've turned into investment bankers, there's so on and so forth. I mean, there's so much stuff which is out there as a lawyer. So yeah, I think maybe a little more planning, a little more knowledge, a little more awareness, I think would have sort of made me a little more focused in what I wanted to do back then.
Well, but I'm going to say you're really doing good for yourself.
Thank you so much.
You got there. What advice would you like to give young aspiring law students?
I think firstly, chill. Like, don't stress. It's all right. It's all right if you see somebody else doing better than you. I think this is just normal gyan I'm giving. If you see someone else better than you, doing better than you, it's okay. It's everyone says it's a rat race. It's all right. It's okay. You might be 2 steps behind somebody, but think of it in the long run. Maybe 3 years down the line, you will be 10 steps ahead of them. So slow and steady really actually wins the race. So don't, unnecessarily pressure yourself with things. But yes, I think one thing that sort of helped me is I genuinely am interested in current affairs, in getting to know what makes the world tick in whichever aspect possible. So I think being a little more connected with what's happening around you would actually give you a more well-rounded picture or a holistic picture in terms of how you could actually contribute a lot later. Even when you work, say, for a company, an inflation here or there, or, hike in fuel prices here and there actually affects a lot of things in your company, which will ultimately come down to you handling compliance aspects of it or risks associated with your business. So I think it's necessary to know what's happening around you. And I think if you start doing that at an early age, I know I sound like our old school teacher saying, beta, please read your newspaper.
It's important. It's going to help somebody. So you need to say it. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, this generation is more on social media, news travels like that. But I think the traditional way of us reading the newspaper, reading storybooks, reading any book as far as possible, I think that really helps a lot. Because that's how I think as lawyers, you need to be well-read, you need to be able to think on your feet, logical reasoning, solving something. I know people say it's sometimes lame to solve a jigsaw puzzle or a crossword, but I think it's really cool. I think you should know that. Sometimes use your mind in a different way. And I think if you have all of this, a good balance of, everything, and not just be stuck to, your books and say, oh no, I have to study and get all these marks. That's there. It's great. You're doing that. Great. But I think enjoy yourself as well. Enjoy the process while you're at it. And that's when you also develop as a human being and you can contribute better, I think, to whichever organization you're part of.
Thank you so much, Sana. I mean, I really hope that kids who are watching this, students who are watching this, and parents who are watching this are able to choose and make the right choices. And I hope that if you watch this episode till the end, you can put in your queries at the comments of this, and I will request Sana to respond back to you in whatever way she can help you. And this is a good opportunity. Don't miss it. It's very rare that you will get to talk to somebody who's in the industry, who can guide you and handhold you with the realities of what is required for you to be successful in your career. So take it up, subscribe to this channel, and let us know what you want to know and how we can help you with your career.
Thank you.